Hey y'all, Train Freak here, and I'm going to give you my weekly layout update and show you a few things that I have got. And I mean, I'm over here just trying to figure some things out, and I think I got a few things figured out. But before we get to all that, I want to remind you to and fill in the bell, you know, ding ding ding, like the little Train Freak Jr. says. So that way you can receive notifications, future notifications on all my videos, including my weekly layout updates, my how-tos, and including things such as contests. Speaking of, I've hit 350. We're inching closer to the 400 subscriber contest, and since finally somebody claimed a prize for the 300 subscriber, I had to go and replace that scale prize, and I've got those right here. So, and the other things I'm going to show you is some of the track work. I've kind of tweaked a little, and I'll explain why. And I even got my propane tanks, have got a little bit work done on it. Some life lessons I've learned on that, because I have struggled the whole week on those. So I will show you kind of what I've done on those, and where I had some help from someone who's been in the hobby a whole lot longer than I have. And last but not least, I'm going to show you kind of some of the stuff that I did with my JMRI, which I've just barely got into it. So let me show you the prizes for the 400 subscriber that has, or the new prizes, which is HO. The N scale and O scale are still the same, so they haven't changed. And then I will show you everything else. So just bear with me one moment, and we will show you everything. Alright, y'all. So here are the new prizes for the HO side, since the winner, or the claimed winner, got the Herzog gondola. So I decided, well, why don't we go round 2 on the gondolas? So here I've got 2 railguns, brand new, unopened. And this one is got the B and O, Baltimore and Ohio reading marks. And then this one over here, same gondola, but it's got the Chicago Northwestern reading marks on it. They also had some of these with just regular GONX on there, but I thought it'd be really cool to, you know, give a winner some of these with some other railroads on it. So that's as far as the prizes go. So I'm going to move these out of the way. Alright, so track, I've kind of tweaked it a little bit. Not too awful much. But, so what I had was, starting right here, I had a very, very short piece. I think it was this one. Or it might have been smaller than that one. And then it went into the next double crossover. And of course I can't really tack more of it on, because you can see I don't have any more of the cork sheet, but I actually have a couple of rows in that plastic bag over there. But it was more straight, and then of course with my curve, it kind of kinked out. And it was just did not, the flow did not look good. So one of the ways that I rectified it was I came back, put a small, or a little bit bigger piece in to separate the, you know, the 2 double crossovers. But I'm going to get the camera right on it so you can see that it does have a slight bend. And if I throw the switch, you can see the bend looks really, really good as far as flowing into the next track. Alright. And then that allowed me to bring this out further, because if you can see my pencil line here, this is where the track originally was. So now you can see it has slid out, and it just gives a much better curvature coming in. I did run into one issue, and one issue only, which is not going to be a major issue, because I should never have any of these going this direction. But I ran a passenger car from here, crossed it over, and then tried to bring it in to the next double crossover, and it kept wanting to derail. But then I was thinking, you know what, why don't I use the longest cars and see how they act. And the longest cars that are going to be coming through this switch are going to be these two. Most likely. Maybe some 86 footers, and I can try those as well. But I know these are going to be the ones that will definitely go through, you know, crossing here, over to the next, and then over to the next. Basically crossing 3 tracks wide. And those did not have any issues whatsoever. And I did make sure that that turnout that's kind of off to itself was connected, and I had another piece of flex, which is upside down, straight out, just to kind of see how it, you know, flowed. So I'm a little happier with this, and I think this is going to work a little better. Some of the other things I've been messing with is this building, just kind of playing around before I put it in place. Its actual place is going to go back there where the roundhouse is and that the turntable box. But I'm thinking of making this what I'm going to call the Juicy J's Meat Company. And basically have it to where the stock cars are going to drop the animals off here. I've got another door that I'm going to plug that hole up with, and the door looks just like that one. And use this here as far as the reefer cars for the meat products and stuff that are coming out. So, and then that gives me a good 3-inch spacing there. But this building here does have a longer dock on that side, so I'm thinking about maybe trying to rip that dock off and move it over here. But the only issue I'm seeing is these are 2 separate buildings that I just got kind of placed side by side. And that longer dock is going to be twice as long as this one. Meaning I could get it from here to here, but I don't know how well that would look with those 2 very low windows. And whoever constructed this thing, because I did buy this used, did a pretty daggum good job. And they did a good job weathering it as well. I know I got a piece here somewhere. I think it's on this one. Let me turn it over. If you can see the difference of the weathered. You can see how that's weathered and not weathered. So, and I'm wondering if they might have just done like a whitewash on this. And I mean, it just looks really good. The bricks really pop out. And so, I was thinking maybe I could just make this Juicy J's Meat Company. And the doors, I think, are spaced enough to where I could put 2 stock cars. And so, I'm just thinking maybe try to find a way to make a bigger platform. Even if I could just get another piece to go right here. That would be great. So, been playing with that. Here's the propane tanks, and I did break one of them, which I'm going to fix. I do not pay attention to the color. What I had to do, because the issue that I kept having is, by the time I glue one side down, the other side would want to pop open. And now you can see that both of them are down. And I had to go get some help with this, because I was fighting this one and that one, which is not broken. It seemed like every day this week I kept fighting these. And so I took it up to the hobby shop and let Craig, the owner, who's been doing this for like 30, 40 years. And basically what he ended up doing is filling in the gap with styrene putty. I think that's what it's called. And of course he had to sand it off, and then of course now I got to repaint it, which what I'm going to have to end up doing is taking the platform here off, which is not going to be tough. One of the things that he did tell me, and so this was a first time attempt for me, was I painted all the pieces before cutting them off the spruce. Yeah, I should not have done that. So that is a life lesson learned. Glue these before you paint these. And so when I do another building kit on one of my Sidetrack Sundays, it will not be painted first. It will be glued first. So there you have that. One of the other things I did was I repainted the silos. Now, originally these were two separate sections. This was the original kit. This was the add-on. And I did not know, and of course I got to fix this. It broke apart, but it's another one of these. And I did not know that these silos had a tear-off tab on the bottom for a reason. And if I can set this down, I'll show you what I'm saying. If you look on this corner here, alright, there, now the camera focused. Right there, you can see that there is a straight line. And it's the same way, if you don't have the silos glued in, there's a straight line that goes in there. If you cut those off, and of course I had to get some styrene to reinforce it, you can actually put these together, and I trimmed a little too much. Because if you look at the silos are close together enough, but yeah, you can see where I just did a little bit too much trimming. And it is the same way down there, and I put another piece of styrene just to kind of reinforce it. And then you don't glue the ends, which would be that piece. You leave it off, and now you can actually make as long of a silo as you want. For me, I just wanted a 2x8. A 2x8 looked a whole lot better than a 2x4, in my opinion. So, alright, so that's what I had on that, and you can see that I'm just holding the top, and it's one solid piece now. And it just looks a lot better and a lot more prototypical than having the two individuals. So, what I plan on doing next with these is I'm going to get some vinyl sticker letters that are going to be 2 inches tall. And this is going to be Riceland. And I know I still need to paint that. But it's going to be R-I-C-E-L-A-N-D all the way across. And then I'm going to mask a rectangle out of it. And I will spray the rectangle blue. After the paint cures, and I will pull those letters off. And touch up if I need to. And then that's going to give me white silos with a blue rectangle and white lettering. And that's going to look very prototypical as to the rice silo that's located in Stuttgart, Arkansas, which is their headquarters. The only difference between this one and theirs is theirs has nine silos or columns. So, and then of course I got to go and repaint that. Yeah, that one's going to be fun to repaint. And probably before I get all of this in place and put this down, all these cabinets, yeah, they got to come down. So, but that's my goal on that. Now, if you're wondering, well, how are you planning on connecting all your track back there? Yada, yada, yada. So, I've got, of course, this turnout is supposed to go right here, like so. I've got another number 6 left that's going to go here. I will have to trim up the long leg like I did here. So you can see I trimmed this up, and I will have a track that literally goes this way. Well, if it wasn't for me having a lot of stuff in the way, it's going to go kind of like this, and it's just going to kind of work its way back all the way back there to those two flat cars. And this is called a single slip. So, let you take a better look at that. That's a single. It's going to connect to the single like so. Kind of like that. The back track, or the straight track, will go to the Shack-A-Sit Furniture Company. This track here is actually going to be a reversing track that allows the switcher to pull cars in and then push through this track here to the Riceland Mill, which is there. It's going to go in that kind of vicinity, and then of course the Juicy J's Meat Company, which is going to probably be this type of setup right there, but back over that way. And I might have enough room for even more industries, so that's something else to look at. Another thing that I will have is a number 6 right, somewhere in the middle of this track setup, going this way with a curved switch here that's going to feed two separate industries. One's going to be my Morton Salt, which I have that building over here by the Moose that Sparky's wife Amy made, and I won in a contest, which was really cool. And actually there is the I think that's the other left. So there's the left switch that I got to do. The right switch is here somewhere. It's here somewhere. But and then the other building is going to be another backdrop building that's going to be close to the truck that's going to staging. And y'all know this is a huge mess, and that's something I got to clean up. But I'm slowly trying to work this direction. And that's going to be the produce shack, which is going to be called Fresh and Funky Produce, which takes fresh fruits and vegetables and either converts, it's basically a warehouse per se, but they receive fresh fruits and vegetables to send off to the cannery, which is somewhere off site, which will be done by truck. And then the truck will bring back either frozen fruits and vegetables or canned fruits and vegetables. And then those cars will take them back off. So that's kind of the goal with those. Other than that, of course, I got to build a sawmill over there past my ring light, which will continue past the number 6 that curves this way. And once it gets past it, will start a climb of probably a 2.5% grade. And I will have some switchback curved turnouts back over in that direction. Don't know exactly what that setup's going to look like yet, but hopefully it won't be too complex. And so that's really kind of my thoughts on this for the most part. And then over here, of course, I got Gamer and Thrones. It's actually going to sit about where the county suites and hotel is. And I've got one track that you can see curving around. And if you're wondering what the blue painter's tape is, that actually is for super elevation, which works really good. And that's going to kind of continue along that drawn line there. And of course, then I got to continue bench work that way. And before I get to the helix, which is over there, I'll have a switch coming back to feed both the Gamer and Thrones and to also feed the Tetanus Scrap Company. So that is it as far as the layout update. Now, give me a minute. Let me get over to the dispatcher's desk, and then I'll show you what else I have been working on. So just hold on just a second. Alright, y'all. So this is the dispatcher's desk, and you're looking at my computer, which I do have a second monitor up there, and that's me and my wife. When we rode the ducks in Branson, Missouri before the sinking a few years back. And Train Freak Jr. actually got to drive it. I have a video of it somewhere. So if you're interested, I can show you that some other time. But this is the dispatcher's desk that I'm using. And so this is going to be used to control the turnouts. It also is going to detect the block detection and kind of control all the signals on the layout. And the dispatcher is going to be able to line, tracks up for, the trains. So I'm just going to kind of show you a little bit of how this works, because this is pretty much as far as I got into it. I didn't work on a whole bunch. So this is what they call the tables, and I'm on the first table, which is turnouts. So I'm using tortoise switches with a NCE switch 8 because that's what I use is NCE. And the switch 8 allows me to control up to 8 individual switches, or I can slap a pair on one as if I'm simulating a crossover, which I have a few of those. So you can see they're all closed, and I'm going to go ahead and click on NT1 because that one is going, well, first I need to make sure that my system's turned on. So you're probably going to hear some extra noise in the background. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and throw NT1, and I don't know if you heard the tortoise switches or not, but now it's thrown. And I'm going to move the phone over here. And if you see the baggage car that's lit, look at the turnout on the left. Not the one that it's sitting on, but the one on the left. And I'm going to go ahead and reclose it just by clicking the mouse. Now, once I get the actual panel up, then I can actually, which will be in the future, then I could actually click on the turnouts on the panels and do it that way. So, alright, the other thing that I have done is we're going to go here to sensors. So this is for block detection. And what I'm using here is BD20s with an AIU01. These are all NCE because that's the system I'm using. BD20 just basically detects a load or a current going from the right rail to the left rail. And it has a filter and it sends information back to the AIU01, which is in return connected to the cab bus. Okay? Now, as far as JMRI goes, it's just going to show active or inactive. Once I get Panel Pro up, I can set what is going to be the tracks to go to different colors. I might set track up as blue, as unoccupied track, red for occupied, and then I'll probably just do black for the sections of track that I'm not going to put BD20s on. Now you're probably asking me, well, what pieces of track would you not put a BD20 on? That could be things such as the yard tracks themselves, the tracks going to the engine facilities. If you got industries on the layout, you know, whether it's connected to the main or off the main, there's really no reason to put a BD20 on those. Okay? Because if you got cars sitting at those industries, and it's going to show the track is occupied at all times, and then as far as your signaling, it's not really going to help. Alright? Now, as far as the main line, and then of course passing sidings, then yes, I'm going to use BD20s. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of show you some examples. If you look down there, you can see a piece of track, and eventually you will not be able to see that piece of track from this location. That is the balloon loop. Now I'm going to slide the camera over here, and you can see the actual balloon loop with a curved turnout. And if you looked at the curved turnout and the other side of the straight turnout, which is a number 6, you will see, all the insulated rail joiners. And that is because I have that balloon loop also on a auto reversing circuit. Okay? After that, you can use one rail joiner if you wanted to, but sometimes it's just easier just to use 2. It doesn't matter which rail you put your BD20 on. All it's going to do is detect current. Once it detects the current, then it will send the information back. An example of BD20s, I've got 2 sitting right there that is waiting to be wired up elsewhere on the layout. Okay? So that is block 1. This track here is block 3. I've got this turnout, and I'm going to slide my passenger car back and move around the stud. These 2 turnouts I put as a separate block, and which is going to be block 2, and then the car that is, which is my siding, is going to be block 3. Okay? And I do not have the lights on the lower deck turned on. So, but you notice that I have a passenger car that is pre-lit, or that I lit it myself. And once I move the car from block to block, the lights might flicker, but the lights do not go out. Okay? So, let's go back and look at the computer. Right now, if we just ignore the top one, which is the IS clock, if you see BD4, it shows to be active, which is the siding that's the car is sitting on. If I move it forward just a hair, I'm not going to move it all the way, Now we see where BD2 or NS49 is also showing active. And if I move it a little farther, NS51 or BD4 shows inactive. And if I keep moving it along the track, now we got 1 and 2 being active, and now we just have 1 being active. So this is a great way to show occupancy on your track. Now, I'm also going to show you, I've got a signal there, which the bottom signal protects the yard, the top signal protects the siding. And this way, I've got a single head signal there coming out of the yard, because it doesn't matter which way on the crossover it goes, it's going to go into the balloon loop. And I probably could do the same thing here, but I put a double there, I guess because I can go straight or I can do the crossover. And if that's the case, I might replace that and put a double in. I haven't decided yet. Feel free to give me your opinion on it. And then I don't have one over here yet, but you can see where I've drawn on the bench work. Once the camera clears up, let's see if I can get the camera to clear. Come on, focus in. Focus. There it goes. I have drawn where I'm going to put my other signal. And then, of course, I've got signal decoders that will have to be installed that JMRI will control, and that's going to be another day. I haven't not got that far yet. But those signals, due to JMRI, are going to know if a piece of track is occupied, if a piece of track is unoccupied, or the directions that the turnouts have been thrown. Now, as far as occupancy goes, everyone knows that if you're using plastic wheels, you can't create a current from one rail to the other. So this does require metal wheels on all your rolling stock. Now, we know that your locomotives are going to bridge that connection. Except for the dummy locomotives, they might not. So you might have to wire in a resistor on them. Anything that you have put sound in that doesn't have an on-off switch that receives its power from the track will also create a connection, so it will show that your blocks are being occupied. However, if by chance you do not have a rolling stock that does not have the, I'm trying to think of the term, the occupancy on there, I've got a car that I can show you, and I'm going to see if it's in easy reach, and if it's not, then I'll have to show you later. But I think it's in easy reach, so I'm going to look, and let's see. Is that one it? That one looks like it. So let me move a couple of pieces around, and while I'm doing that, you can look at my very messy desk. And of course, when I picked up, the shell came off. Okay. So this is one of the things that I have done. Is it this car? No, it's not. Okay, let me see if it's this other car that I'm thinking it is. I know I did it to one of these cars. Let's try this one. Yes, it's this one. Okay. Alright, so here's my metal wheel sets. And focus. There we go. If you can see on this one here, right above my thumb or under my thumb, whichever way you want to call it, is a micro resistor. And I used conductive paint. I'm trying to get the camera to focus. Of course it doesn't want to focus. There we go. Alright. So I did one on this side. And I also did that wheel there too. Okay? Now the reason why I did both sides is so that way, if this truck cleared the block, but that truck back there did not clear the block, then the block's still showing occupied. I did not put them on the outside wheels because then it's easily noticeable. So I put it on the inside wheels on each truck. Okay? So that is something you can do to show occupancy on your layout. Now, for you Digitrax people, I know there's another way to do it. DigiKeys. You might as well go visit my buddy Heath from Humanity Junction, because he's got something he's going to do with that. But as far as NCE goes, you can use your BD20s. I know there's a way you can do it with Arduino as well. I think Jimmy from the DIY and Digital is working on that. So, well, I feel like I have taken up more than enough of your time. And so what I'm going to do is go ahead and just send you off. I hope you have a great week. You know, be safe out there. I hear the numbers are starting to spike up. Wish everyone to have a happy Thanksgiving, whether you get to spend time with your extended family or not. I'm not going to tell you what you should or should not do in that instance. But if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, fill in the bell. That will give you access to all my future videos, and you will be notified instantly or promptly, you know, through a smartphone device. Then, you know, thumbs up. That helps get my video out to the rest of the general public, you know, because maybe there's others out there that don't know who I am, and I can possibly give them some type of information that they're looking for. And then other than that, feel free to comment. You know, I can always, you know, take people's suggestions and stuff, and I might run with it, and I might take it with a grain of salt. You never know about me. So, and then I would also like to thank all of my extended supporters through Patreon, Teespring, and PayPal.me. And if you are interested in being an extended supporter, you feel free to check out the links below. So, alright, y'all. Well, y'all take care. Be safe out there. And happy railroading.